Time, persistence, and frequency are very important when it comes to chiropractic care, or it becomes important in any aspect of your life. So the topic that we're going to jump into with Chiro 101, I want to start with a question. And the question is how often should everyone be adjusted? Is it the same or is it different? Well, it's probably different. I would say everyone should be checked if they can once a week. Everyone should be checked. That doesn't mean that we're going to adjust them. How often someone's adjusted will depend on if they have a subluxation, but how often they should be checked at least once a week. But to begin with, and we're going to go over the research, the more frequent you get checked, the better results a year out. And that's what the research is showing us. Well, let's dig a little bit into this. I want to talk about the subluxation very simply right now, because when your body is out of alignment, putting pressure on those nerves of your spine, your body is in a place in which it cannot communicate properly. The nerves of your spine send signals from your organs, your tissues, your muscles to your brain, and your brain then must adapt to the signals that it's receiving and tell the body what to do. If that communication is tuned down even 10%, your body is dysfunctioning and starting to communicate in a slower, less adaptable way. Subluxations, when corrected with an adjustment, help your body to adapt to the stressors put on them. And that's what I want to kind of talk about briefly, is that the stressors that your body are under are what cause your subluxations. Subluxations are not inherent to you or nature, but they're very common. Subluxation is your body becoming overwhelmed by a stressful stimulus, be that stressful stimulus a car accident, or sitting at a desk poorly throughout the day, or maybe it's playing sports when you were younger. Maybe it's the foods you're putting in your body. Maybe it's the stress that's going on inside your head and affecting the rest of your body. So when your body becomes overwhelmed by stressors and it can't adapt to those stressors, it ultimately breaks the circuit. You trip a breaker. That's a subluxation. A subluxation itself is your body's reaction to the stressors that it could not handle. Well, what are they? I would not be doing my job for you if we didn't try to teach you the stressors that cause your spine to get out of alignment, to get restricted. Remember, subluxation is restricted joints. They don't move. They move all together, not independently. When your spine becomes subluxated, these nerves are interfered with, and those nerves are very sensitive. It only takes the weight of a dime to shut off up to 60% of the life force or nerve flow. So we must try to understand what stresses are these nerves and our spine so that we can have less subluxations, lead a more fulfilling life with less pain, better function, and more longevity and vitality throughout life. The simplest thing you could possibly do for your body to maintain its healthy function is to allow your nervous system to function, which means get checked. Get your spine checked regularly. It is at the root of many problems. So let's go back to those stressors. Those stressors in life come from a lot of different aspects. There are three main categories. The three categories we in chiropractic, when we talk about the philosophy of chiropractic, we say that there are 3 T's that cause subluxation. We can talk about 4 laws that your body is under too, and a lot of things. But let me go over the 3 T's. If there was ever chiropractic trivia, which there usually is once a year, you'll want to know the 3 T's. The first is trauma. Most people would understand that if you're driving along and someone you get a whiplash because of a car accident, you probably could have a trauma, and that would affect your spinal alignment. That's obvious. Maybe you'll fall on your tailbone. Maybe you go sled riding, and you get all kinds of stressors through that. But trauma, that can happen even from poor posture throughout the day, hunched over all day. Another T is toxins. We just got through the holiday season, which usually is laden with toxins, more than maybe even our normal day-to-day. But remember that the water, food, and air you breathe contains so many chemicals, especially more into industrialized society than it ever did. You're probably exposed to 32,000 chemicals a week. Your body was built to handle stressors and chemicals, but not at 32,000. You get overwhelmed. So toxins, the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, affects us, causes subluxation in our spine. How? Toxins cause irritation on our nerves too. The last is our thoughts. Thoughts are things. What we think about and think about, we bring about. So our bodies cannot be separated from our mind. Our mind and body are ultimately connected. We give away gifts, t-shirts, things like that, and one of them says mind-body balance. When you get adjusted, you can kind of reverse engineer balance in your mind by resetting balance in your body. But an imbalanced mind causes an imbalanced body. A depressed mind causes a depressed body. These are intricately connected. We would be amiss to say that an adjustment fixes everything or even fixes anything. But a subluxation. To change your habits and your life, it requires effort and work, and it's uncomfortable. But one of the simplest things you can do is just get here and show up. So let me go through 2 studies real quick. The first is, how often should I visit a chiropractor? That's probably a common question that anyone who starts chiropractic care or anyone who's searching on the internet to see a chiropractor say, how often should I see a chiropractor? We'll have some of these up front too if you're looking. Well, I'm sure, and most people say, well, I hope once. Get adjusted, and immediately I'm fixed, and I never have to worry about it again. Unfortunately, our life is riddled with stressors. Our hope would be that one adjustment fixes the problem. The research tells us otherwise. One thing to remember is that 1,000th straw that breaks the camel's back. This picture right here. You guys see that? Yeah, the straw that breaks the camel's back. That camel's back doesn't break with the first straw, but the 1,000th. When we don't obey the laws of our body, we add straws to our back, to that camel's back. It wasn't picking up the pencil or just the one thing you did yesterday that was wrong, the bad bed you slept in, the bad food you ate. It was a combination of straws that built up on top of you, and that last little one broke the back of the camel. So the point is to obey the laws of your body. There are 4 major laws. Number 1 is movement. You have to move. You come in here and I move your body for you, but you must move it when you're not here. You must move it if you don't want to lose it. Number 2 is we have to nourish our bodies. More and more, the patients who saw great success with chiropractic back 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years ago are not seeing the results they used to, and it's because our foods are not fuel. Our foods are toxic, majority of them. They're made to be addictive. They're made to need more and want more all the time. Real whole foods can heal a body. A well-aligned and moving body heals itself, but we must give it fuel. So obey the laws of nourishment. We'll probably dig into that to other workshops. The other one would be that the laws of recuperation. If we don't recuperate, if we don't rest, if we don't recreate, our bodies cannot recover. When our bodies become overwhelmed, the stressors that continue to build up on our body happen well before you hurt. If you're in pain, that dysfunction that caused your pain happened weeks to months to years ago. This is why chiropractic care is actually chosen 50% of the time by someone who's maintaining their health, not who's hurting. 50% of our visits are people who are maintaining their health. A study was done on maintenance care for chiropractic. It was done in Sweden, and they actually had 40 different chiropractors treating 328 people. And what they did in the study was they tried to find out is if people were under maintenance care, seeing once a month or so, would that cause them to need, have fewer problems and or need less care? And they had another group who was told to come back when they hurt, and they would treat them until they didn't hurt, and then they would let them go, and they'd come back if they hurt again. That group ended up actually seeing the chiropractor more times in their care than the people who were on maintenance. So the people who regularly saw a chiropractor had less visits to their chiropractor, but were regular, versus the people who waited till they had pain. Your body becomes weak and unstable when your body is subluxated, and that instability causes dysfunction in the whole system and can cause pain. But you don't know it until you feel the pain, but the problem started before. Another fun fact about this study that was done in 2018 was that the group who had maintenance care experienced 13 fewer days of pain over the course of the study. So they had, over 2 weeks of better function than the people who just waited till they hurt. Maintenance care, research. Let's talk a little bit about the frequency of chiropractic care early on. There was a study done here in America with 256 people, and what they were studying was chronic headaches. Patients with headaches were given kind of the 2 groups. One was adjusted 3 times a week for up to 6 weeks, and the other group didn't receive any chiropractic, and maybe were given like a little light massage, very light, what they would almost call like a sham treatment. The group that had received chiropractic care intensely in the first month and a half, they had 3 fewer headaches per month than the patients who didn't receive the chiropractic care early on intensely. So let me repeat that. The patients who were adjusted frequent in the beginning showed 3 to 4 less headaches a month than the group who only were given a light massage. So intense care in the beginning has ramifications even a year later. The more we can see a spine and check it and adjust what needs it in the beginning, the better chances we have of making changes for the long term. In your life, there are things you may want to change. Everything you want to change is going to require some basics. time, energy, sometimes money, or most of the time money, and that frequency. That frequency at which we do things can change our brain, our habits, our attitudes, and our minds. Your bodies change. They're plastic. Your brain's plastic. It can change all the time, but we have to stimulate it differently. If we do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result, I think you guys know the definition. That's insane. So how do we reset our patterns? How do we break up our patterns? How do we rechange the ways our bodies function? We start by rebooting it. When you are subluxated, you trip a breaker in your house, for lack of a better way. Your spinal cord is like that breaker in your house. And when you've overloaded the circuit, you trip the breaker. Energy is not flowing, information is not communicating. When we readjust you and turn the lights back on, your body is now communicating and functioning. But what caused it to misalign in the first place probably repeats itself daily by the ways you eat, the ways you think, the ways you move or don't move. So we need to start making changes. If you want to make changes in your life, be intense, be frequent. Do that for a good month, month and a half. If you can change your habits, you will change your life. Some of the easiest ways to be started changing your habits is to help someone do that with you and for you. That means getting adjusted first regularly so then you can support yourself in the future and need less of me or any other doctor. This is a foundational understanding of health and healing and where it comes from. It may not be easy. It may take some time, but in the end, as the research has shown, it will save you pain and money and dysfunction in the long term. An ounce of prevention is totally worth a pound of cure. Being natural with our spine's alignment and following these laws helps you be healthier. My hope and prayer is that you are fed, and that when you are fed, you can feed others. When we come together for the basics of learning and training, we all get better. And we're here this next year to evolve as a practice. There may be a lot of changes right now with our with our system, but I tell you it's because we want to give more back and figure out ways to help you enhance. So we look for some new things that we'll be doing, enhancements of evolutions in our office, because we want to serve more people. So you guys have a good night. Bye-bye.